All right, I think I'm live. I think my mic is working. Let's check. Can you all hear me? Is this even going? I don't even know because YouTube is slow. There we go. I think I can hear myself. And if I can, hopefully you guys can too. Hi. Boy, do we have a lot to talk about today. My goodness. You know, for a case that's not even 6 months close to trial yet, we have a ton of news going on. It started last week, Mark Means firing off a shitstorm as usual, and we've been dealing with the fallout from that ever since. It was a long weekend waiting for information from the court. We have a little bit today, but boy, there's a lot going on. So let's back up and let's start with how this all happened. Last week, you see on the screen, there's a picture of Rob Wood. Rob Wood is the special prosecutor who is overseeing all of the Vallow Daybell stuff. All right, so he's basically the current case are the conspiracy to conceal or destroy evidence charges against Chad and Lori, as well as the actual concealment or destruction of evidence by Chad. But when, and I'm going to say when, not if, when murder charges or conspiracy to commit murder charges come, they'll be coming from him too. He'll be overseeing the whole mess. So that's why they named him a special prosecutor. It gives him greater jurisdiction, greater authority, greater power, and probably a bigger budget to handle all of this stuff going on. So that is Rob Wood. All right. I like him. I like his record. I think he's perfect for the job. He's already aware of some of the players involved in this case. He was the prosecutor in a domestic violence dispute against Ian Pulowski, who is Lori's niece's husband. So, you know, this whole energy of this family and all of these people, it's not alien to him. So I think he's got a very good grasp on it. So he's been doing a lot of work for, the last year on this case. Now, last week, Mark Means, who is Lori Vallow's attorney, filed a document, right? And I'm going to get it up on the screen. I'm actually going to get Pryor's version on the screen because Mark Means doesn't know how to type. He really doesn't. He's not so good with the grammars and stuff. So here we go. This is where it starts. Mark Means filed it first. John Pryor came in and filed it right after. The exact same document, only in Pryor's version. If you compare the two side by side, they're identical, except John Pryor went through and corrected all the grammatical errors in Mark Means' filing, which I thought was really funny. This isn't a funny case. It's not a funny situation. But things like that was funny to me. So good on you, John Pryor, for your grammar skills. And there you go. So they filed this document. Okay, it just showed up in court out of the blue last week. And they're basically saying, Mark Means said, Judge, here's what happened. All right. Rob Wood met with Summer Shiflet, who is Lori's sister, and Zulema Pastenis, who is Lori's ex-sister-in-law. She was married to Alex Cox. Okay. And he met with them in Arizona in October. Right. And there's a recording of it, and he was totally intimidating the witnesses and trying to influence their testimony and doing all these terrible things. It's prosecutorial misconduct, Your Honor. I have the tapes. And I'm reading this like, what? All right, so let's hear the tapes. But of course, we don't have the tapes. He just put it, mentioned it in the motion. So I'm like, all right, we're going to have to wait till we actually hear these tapes. Because first of all, I'm thinking, does Rob Wood know that he was recorded? Is Arizona a one-party state? Who made the recordings? Because I even asked that in the first video, if you go back a couple of videos, when he dropped this document, I'm talking about it. I'm like, where did this recording come from? Because if Rob Wood recorded it, then he wouldn't need to introduce it into discovery because he would know it already. He'd have it. But it didn't come from Rob Wood. Of course not. What we found out is that the person that made this recording was Garrett Smith. Garrett Smith is an attorney who is representing Summer Shiflet and Zulema Pastenis, and even represented Melanie Pulowski in the early days of her custody case with Brandon Boudreau. So, very interesting. How does Garrett Smith know all of these people involved in this family and with this case? Where did he come from? Who is he? And what is he like? So you can do some digging into his record. There are some links in the Discord server for that. He's not, Mr. Squeaky Clean either. So there you go. Oh, and you have to excuse me. I am still sick. My chest is really tight. I have a sinus infection. It is not COVID, I promise. But I'm having some struggle talking and breathing. So bear with me for a minute while I take another nasal thing. 1 second. Okay, there we go. So you can look up Garrett Smith. We're not really talking about him too much today, but he is not, kind of like John Pryor. We know about John Pryor's prior. That was not a nice thing, right? So Garrett Smith's issues aren't quite on the same level, but he does have a history of issues. All right. So Garrett Smith apparently recorded these interviews. Now, when we're reading through this, I'm thinking there's no way Rob Wood would jeopardize the entirety of this case by making that kind of a mistake with two sort of outlying witnesses, right? We're not talking about the defendants. We're talking about some witnesses, and witnesses that we know ourselves just from watching their social media are not the most, shall we say, trustworthy, as far as Summer and Zulema. So I really don't think Rob Wood would have jeopardized all of it to try to intimidate or influence those two people. But, sorry, breathing. Rumors abounded over the next day or two about transcripts of this audio recording. Court TV even went on and said, oh, we read the transcripts and they said this, this, and that. And I'm like, what? Where'd you get that? I can't find it anywhere. So you do some digging, and finally we did find it, and we will get to the transcript in a little bit. But John Pryor and Mark Means here asserting that they should disqualify Rob Wood as the prosecuting attorney because of these interviews he had with Summer and Zulema. Right. And that was rough because a lot of us like Rob Wood. We don't want to see any more garbage going down in this darn case. We just want it to proceed. We want to get to court. Okay. We really do. So that happened. I think that was Friday or Thursday or something. Or Wednesday or Tuesday. I don't even know. It's been a week of NyQuil. I don't know what day it is. But that was last week. All right. So the entire document is in Discord. Now, a lot of people have joined Discord over the last couple of days, like 100 people. A lot of people don't know how to use Discord. However, the mods have a link. I made a video on how to use Discord. So if you need the basics, there's a video you can watch. It's really simple. It's totally free. Doesn't cost you a dime. And that's where I post all of these documents. So if you want to read them in their entirety, you can find them all there. All right. So let me get to where's my screen sharing window? Give me 1 second. It's all... I'm back. Sorry. See, do not do a live stream when you're on all kinds of medications. It doesn't end well. It really doesn't. Anyway, I'm back. Sorry. I hit the wrong button. Woo. All right, let's try that again. Share video, share image. There we go. All right, that's page 1. Here's page 2. This is what they were talking about. They say alleged misconduct violated the due process rights to their right to a fair trial. I don't think so, but whatever. This is what they're alleging. So you read through all of their allegations about Rob Wood. They're pretty much saying that, because he did this, then we have to fire him and kind of start all over. Like, yeah, that is not going to go well. So we're waiting now to hear what the judge was going to say, what's going to happen as a result of this. But before we get to the judge's argument, the next thing that was filed was a request of discovery from Mark Means. This is also all filed, I think, in the same day or two. Mark Means, you can see it on the screen, he wants more discovery from Rob Wood. And what he does, he requests specifically, including but not limited to any information, recordings, names, addresses, interviews, everything, with all of the following people: Lori, Chad, Alex, Zulema, all of the Daybell children, Tammy Daybell, I don't think that's how she spelled it, Adam Cox, Colby, Kelsey, the parents of Tammy and Chad, the parents of Lori Vallow, Melanie Gibb, Summer, David, Larry, Kay, April Raymond, Annie Cushing, Melanie, Ian, Brandon, just all of these people, right? But what caught my attention at the end of this list, look at the end. Persons associated with a group entitled Preparing a People. Persons associated with the Avow website. Now, that made me giggle a little bit, because you got to find some kind of humor in these dark places or you're going to go crazy. And certainly the Preparing a People angle kind of tickled me a little bit, because so many of these people were involved with Preparing a People. This was a group that was run by Michael and Nancy James. They held these conferences and talks all over the place where you could pay a lot of money to go sit and hear people like Chad talk. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but Got Kay, thank you so much for the super chat. I'm so glad you're here. Glad we've been chatting a lot in Discord. So good to see you, and thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. Thank you. So, Preparing a People. You can go back through my older videos. You'll see where I actually had a confrontation with Nancy James. She got very upset when I talked about them. But now here they are being called. That's going to come up in this case. It is. Because even Summer Shiflet went to a Preparing a People event. Now, we didn't know that before. That's new, and we'll get to where that came from. But even Summer went to Preparing a People talks. All right, so nobody is outside of this circle, this bubble of these really strange offshoot beliefs. And I think that's really going to be important going forward, especially given what Rob says in his response. And we'll get to that in a second, too. But he's also asking for persons associated with the Avow website. So now we're talking Christopher Parrott. David Warwick was heavy. All of these people were involved with Avow at one point. Even Melanie Gibb. Right. So they're all interconnected. They really are. Preparing a People was hugely promoted up on Avow long before the Chad thing happened. Melanie Gibb is all over it. David Warwick, all of these people. All right. So Mark Means is dragging them all out now into the limelight. And I'm like, yeah, I'm here for that. Let's do it. So that was one thing he filed also on top of this motion to disqualify the prosecutor. So on one hand, he's like, hey, Mr. Prosecutor, give me all this information. And then, hey, we want to disqualify you in this next breath. So it's like, yeah, whatever. And then moving on, Rob Wood got a hold of this. This one's actually from Mark Means. Where's Rob Wood's? Rob Wood got a hold of this, and he filed his own response. That's not what's on your screen. This is Mark Means' one. But Rob Wood responded to the motion to disqualify him like, hey, whoa, hold the phone. Okay. He's like, this was an introductory meeting with Summer and Zulema. This was not an investigatory thing. It was not a deposition. We were just having a meet and greet kind of talk. I didn't record it. I didn't give my permission to record it, and I wasn't aware it was being recorded. So I certainly don't know what's in this recording. Is it edited? Do they chop parts out? I have no idea. So that was Rob Wood's response. Is like, what on earth are you doing? All right. So this back and forth is going on through these court filings. And next thing, Rob Wood files for a judicial protective order. And what he's asking the judge is, he says, Judge, please seal all this stuff. Prevent anyone that's got a copy of this audio from releasing it via social media or something crazy like that, because we need to protect the sanctity of the case. We can't have this stuff all over the internet. Right. And so Rob Wood asked the judge for that. Now, there was a hearing scheduled on the 18th, the morning of the 18th, but that was sealed. It was a closed hearing. We have no idea what happened in it. We have no idea what was said or the outcome of it. Well, we kind of do now, but we don't know the full breadth of what happened during that thing. Immediately before that, I think it was even like 2 hours or so before that hearing, Mark Means filed this paper. right? He filed his own motion for judicial protective order because this is what Mark Means does. He just got to be in on everything. What he's doing here, if you can see in paragraph 1, he's asking the court to order that Rob Wood takes no action and has no further communication, involvement, interaction, or access to any and all evidence, trial materials, pleadings, on and on and on and on, until an evidentiary hearing can be conducted by the court into the motion to disqualify him. So basically, Mark Means is saying, hey, while the court is considering my super important motion to disqualify, then Rob Wood should be barred from having anything to do with this case or anyone in it. And it's like, are you just trying to make sure that this gets strung out to like 2025 or what? What's going on here? So this was Mark Means' move. I thought it was absolutely ridiculous. It's nonsense to me. It's complete nonsense. It's not material to the case at hand. It's just Mark Means doing Mark Means stuff. Now, give me 1 second again. Where's my microphone? 1 second. Okay, so Mark Means wants this protective order so that Rob Wood can't do anything until they have an evidentiary hearing, so he can try to prove that Rob Wood should be disqualified. Like, good grief, when does it end? Well, it doesn't end, right? And the hearing on their 18th, it was sealed, so we don't know what happened in there. However, there is a statement today, a filing by the judge, the orders regarding the December 28th, 2020. Ooh, I'm back. That wasn't me that time. My StreamYard just shut down in the middle of it. I'm back. Can you hear me? Is everything good? There's no audio. Huh. Can you hear me now? Testing 1, 2, 3. It looks like it's working. Test. Yes, you can hear me now. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure what that was. I didn't click anything wrong. StreamYard just totally shut down on me. So no idea what's going on. Hopefully that won't happen again. It looks really blurry on my screen. Not sure what's going on there. But all right, it's good now. All right, so the judge's orders. All right, he denied. See, now my thing is not working. What is going on? This is kind of weird. All right, can you see it again now? Seems like it's back up. All right, yeah. So anyway, whatever's going on with the internet is going on. The judge denied the state's motion for the judicial protection order. He also denied Mark Means's judicial protection order motion. So he denied all of it. Basically, he was like, no, none of you all are having this stuff hidden like that. We're just not doing it. Nope. So interesting. Now, the most interesting part of that for me is the transcript. Lost you about what came out today. You don't hear anything, Paula? Paula, try to reload because it should be working for you fine right now. All right. So the other day, this transcript of this interview, this was a big deal. Summer Shiflet met with Rob Wood in Arizona. Okay. And they had an introductory meeting. where they just chatted for a little bit. And Mark Means is using the audio of that as his reason for wanting to get rid of Rob Wood, saying you shouldn't have done that. Bad, bad, bad. So whatever. All right. Now I'm looking up getting the document for you to put them on the screen. Hopefully this doesn't crash it again. Here we go. All right, here's page 1. Should be on your screen. Okay, so what happened after he did that was Garrett Smith filed his own affidavit with the court saying, here's where the audio came from. Here's where I got it. Here's why I gave it to Mr. Means. And here is the transcript of the audio. Now, when I first saw this, it was like, it's kind of sealed at this point, right? It was supposed to have been sealed because the judge ordered, right? There was an order to seal the hearings and seal the motion and all this stuff. So I didn't want to put it publicly. However, that cranky little lawyer man made it public, even while the judge had still the motions for the protective order still stood and this issue was still sealed. And I'm like, I don't want to do that because Rob Wood doesn't want this information out there. He probably has a good reason to not want it out there, and I don't want the case jeopardized, so I wasn't going to make it public. All right, but Cranky Lawyer Man did make it public and even posted it on his website and made a whole video talking about it. I'm like, well, it's out there now. You know what I mean? So if it's already out there, what am I going to do about it? Because we got to talk about it. So the entire motion is up in Discord. It concerns Garrett Smith's affidavit, where he says that he made the recording and he is the one that gave it to Mark Means. Okay. However, he also says that Rob Wood was aware that he was recording it. He said that he informed Rob Wood and the recorder was in sight the whole time. Now, Rob Wood says, nuh-uh. So who are we going to believe there? That's kind of a trick. That's a trick. We have to figure out who we want to believe there. I know who I'm going to choose to believe there, and it's not Garrett Smith. All right? That's just my personal thing. So I'm reading the transcript, and I read through it, and I'm like, I'm not seeing where they're getting the influencing the witnesses and intimidating the witnesses. There's a couple things that maybe you could try and see like that, but not really. You really have to be stretching. All right. Rob Wood does answer some things very bluntly, like where he says, Summer says, oh, is this going to be a death penalty? And Rob says, well, it could be. He's like, that really depends on Lori. We don't want to go there if we don't have to. If she's cooperative, maybe we can avoid that kind of, So, but he's being honest. Yes, honestly, when it comes to conspiracy to commit murder charges, which Rob Wood says are definitely coming. So everyone take that to heart. That's a good sign. He says, yeah, if we go there, there will be death penalty charges unless, we come to some sort of arrangement. All right, so he's being honest. It does not look like he is lying or malingering or trying to manipulate Summer by any means. He's saying, yeah, here's what's going on, The other thing is that, like Pam Labarge said, this is a one-party or not or whatever. They don't need Rob Wood's permission to make the audio tape, right? So there is that. It's a one-party state. So there you go. But it is considered unethical. It's not often done. But, maybe Garrett Smith really thought Rob Wood knew it was being recorded. Who knows? But we do get from this transcript that Rob Wood says conspiracy to commit murder charges are coming. He even says in this document something I've been telling you guys for almost a year now, or at least 6 months, since June anyway. Murder charges will be coming eventually, but the goal right now is to get them convicted on these charges, get them safely tucked away in jail so that he can work on fleshing out the other criminal case. All right. He needs that time. This is a big deal. There's a lot of players involved, and all the players involved that he's talking to are all telling different stories. And you don't know who, if any of them, you can believe. It's going to take a lot of work to hammer out all of the evidence to determine who's lying, who's telling the truth, who was there, who wasn't, so on and so forth. All right. But Rob Wood says, we want to get him in jail, get him on these lesser charges, get him safely tucked away, and then I can work on the criminal case. Right? So that's fine. Paula, yeah, he did meet with Zulema on October 2nd, but there's no transcript of that. At least maybe they didn't feel they needed to release that right away. They just did the summer one, or maybe, I don't know where it is, but maybe they don't have it transcripted yet, or transcribed, I would rather say. But he did meet with both of them. So there you go. So there's the first page. I'll just put the pages up a little bit. The entire transcript is available in Discord. It's 13 pages, well, 14 pages, but I skipped one page because it was just kind of a blank page. But if you want to read the whole thing, you certainly can up in Discord. I've read it several times. I didn't get too much out of it. You know, there were some interesting points. I learned a little bit about Summer. I learned a little bit about Rob Wood. You know, I learned those kinds of things. But I didn't see any prosecutorial misconduct here. Now, our good friend Lori Hellis, she has that newsletter where she's writing a book about this case, and she's a criminal defense attorney. So she's doing a newsletter about all the legal stuff that we're seeing, really explaining it and digging into it. I know that she's currently reading this because I had a chat with her this morning. She'll be doing a newsletter about this exact transcript, right? And how, if at all, this could be prosecutorial misconduct. And if it applies or not, or if this just more of Mark Means doing his crazy stuff, right? Remember back in, oh goodness, was it May? It was much earlier this year. Mark Means wanted a bond reduction for Lori. So they had this hearing, and Mark Means gets up there for 3 hours, and he's standing there talking to the judge. Well, he wasn't standing. The judge actually had to tell him to stand up when he's addressing the court because he didn't know any better. But when he finally stands up, he's addressing the court about all of this craziness about Lori's phone calls in the prison were being recorded. And because of the pandemic, he couldn't see her and her rights were being violated. And he just went on and on and on with this. It was a nightmare hearing to listen to. You know, we were pulling out our hair by the time he was done. And basically, Rob Wood was like, no, Your Honor, it didn't happen. And the judge was like, all right, denied, go home. This feels like much the same thing to me, right? Where Mark Means gets this idea in his head and he runs with it because that's just what he does. You know, it doesn't seem that this is a valid thing. It does not seem to me that this is an important thing. You know, prosecutors meet with people all the time. And from everything that you can read in the transcript about what Rob Wood said, he's not lying. You know, and even if he was, I believe there's some leeway for that when they're trying to coax information out of somebody. Now, it's not the same as like an interrogation, right? It's not. It's a different set of standards. But if you read this, Rob Wood is not lying. He does talk a little bit about Mark Means. Now, this was an interesting point because if you look at the cover page for this, let me open it and read it to you. Page 2, I think it is. All right, what Garrett says is that, okay, paragraph 8, it says that immediately upon realizing the gravity of Mr. Wood's comments during the discussion with my client, I contacted Mr. Means to report unprofessional statements made by Mr. Wood about Mr. Means. Okay, is that what he's really mad about? That Rob Wood was like, well, you know, Mark Means is kind of a character. Ha ha ha. Know what I mean? You know, because he was. But what Rob Wood said was, well, you know, once we bring the conspiracy to commit murder charges, the nature of this case is going to change. Lori will probably need better representation because Mark Means is not qualified to handle this. He's not a criminal defense attorney. right? Now, Garrett Smith could have taken that, oh man, he's dissing my friend, man. Oh, that's so rude. But in actuality, Rob Wood is telling the truth, right? If you're going to go to trial for a possibly death penalty case and you're the defendant, do you not want an attorney with some experience with the death penalty and big criminal cases like that? Wouldn't you want someone who at least maybe has been through it or at least studied it in college? You would think that you would want someone like that. But I have to cough. Give me 1 second. All right, I'm back. Sorry. So Rob Wood, in the discussion, he's talking about, hey, Mark Means, he even says he's a nice guy, but he's not prepared for this kind of case. And that's absolutely true. All right. So it seems like Garrett Smith ran to Mark Means, because he even says so in his own statement, because of the mean things that Rob Wood said about him. Like, wow, y'all need to toughen up a little bit, get a little thicker skin going on here. Because yes, Rob Wood said that Mark Means is not qualified to handle this case. And he is not. Let's face it, he's not. That it's just a matter of fact. But he also said he was nice. He didn't call him a big dummy or anything. He didn't call him names. Right? But apparently that's what led Garrett Smith to give this audio to Mark Means, and Mark Means has been stewing on it ever since, trying to find some way to get this as, prosecutorial misconduct. So I really think Mark Means, now this is my opinion, Mark Means, if you're watching this, dude, we should probably talk. I think we should sit down and talk. But you're a little too, how do I say this right? Mark Means responds like a high schooler to a lot of these things. If you look at his Twitter feed, his public posts, you look at what he did to Kay and Larry Woodcock, and I had a go at him for that because I thought that was ridiculous. He tried to accuse them of making an illicit recording of the preliminary hearing, right? And really just yelled about it on Twitter for a day. And we're like, dude, are you nuts? They were filming a documentary, which we're going to talk about in a minute. And they were removing their recording devices that they were using to record for the documentary in the truck. They removed that before they went in the courthouse. Right? So A, they removed it before they went in the courthouse. So what are you screaming about, Mark Means? And B, why do you care if they're making a documentary? Just leave them alone, right? So he had to go at the Woodcocks. Really made me mad. Really mad. He posted that thing about Melanie Gibb and David Warwick, and if people know that they should start talking, with a picture of the scurrying rats. And I'm like, really? How old are you? Come on, that is not professional. It's not even adult behavior. It's just, you're just lashing out, and this is why I say, in my opinion, Mark Means has a thing for Lori. I think he's smitten with her, and anyone who's doing something mean to Lori is going to get a lashing from Mark Means, and it's just ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. So that's what I think what's going on here. But so those are the filings that have happened the last couple of days. Like I said, the entire body of documents is up in Discord. Now, one of the results of this is that the hearings are going to be changed. There will still be a hearing on January 6th. But as we know, these have been scheduled and vacated and rescheduled and vacated a bunch of times. So what we're going to have on the 6th, I believe, let me reread the judge's orders. I'll put it on the screen for you. I believe that we're going to have the evidentiary hearing about the motion to disqualify Rob Wood. Let me get it on the screen so we can read through it. Here we go. All right, judge's orders. The court heard arguments. All right, counsel for defendant Daybell. Right, so that would be, which defendant Daybell? I'm going to assume they're talking about Chad, so that would be John Pryor. Requested that the January 6th hearing on the motions to disqualify the prosecutor be an in-person hearing. So what we're going to have on the 6th is a hearing. Instead of, we were going to have the motion to dismiss and change of venue. We're not having those now. Okay, we're having the motion to disqualify the prosecutor. All right, and they wanted it to be in person, and the judge was like, I don't need to see your face in person. We're doing it via Zoom. Okay, so now the order to seal remains in effect. So I believe that means we're not going to be able to watch it live, which is sad. I would like to see that. But, you know, the two motions for judicial protective orders were both denied. But yet I think this hearing is still going to be sealed. So, but, you know, I'm going to keep an eye on it. If by any way possible I can bring it to you live, I certainly will. So we'll keep an eye on that for January 6th. But the motion to dismiss and the change of venue, I believe, have both been vacated for the date, or one was vacated, one is rescheduled, something like that. It's all kind of up in the air because Mark Means went through his monkey wrench in, and now everything's all topsy-turvy again, of course. So January 6th, the court will hear arguments whether Rob Wood should be removed as the prosecutor. I think that's ridiculous, but I have a sneaky feeling Rob Wood is going to prevail. How do y'all feel about this? I mean, I haven't really read chat at all today, so what's up with you guys? What do you think about this? John Pryor and Mark Means trying to get Rob Wood thrown off the case. I'm so thirsty. Monique says it's a dangerous move. Could cost him his own career. I agree. It's a very dangerous move. I really do. Stella doesn't think it'll work. I don't either. Yeah, I don't think he's going to be removed at all. But I mean, wait, what? You know, if you want to take a case like this and make it even worse and more dramatic, you're going to do stuff like this. But does this case need to be more dramatic? I mean, there's already enough drama to go around 10 times over. We don't need this kind of stuff going on too. So I think Mark Means is stretching, to say the least. Now, one interesting tidbit about these, I think Lori's dad was a tax lawyer or something like that, not a criminal lawyer. I forget, but he was involved with something, and I think Garrett Smith is a friend of their families. So, what was I going to say? Oh, an interesting tidbit about the meeting. All right, now Summer Shiflet and Zulema Pestenes met with Rob Wood in Arizona, all right, in Chandler, Arizona, the police department. But right after meeting with Rob Wood, they met with local investigators. And according to Justin Lum, they met with them regarding Charles Vallow's death, not the kids. So are they really re-looking at Charles Vallow's death? We've had a lot of rumors and statements even from Chandler Police Department that, yes, they are looking at it, or at least looking into it a little bit. So perhaps in October, they were talking about Charles Vallow's death. And maybe, just maybe, we're going to see some charges there. I would love to see some charges there. You know, I do. But so apparently that is what Summer and Zulema were doing at the Chandler Police Department. And they remember that Garrett Smith was the one who reached out to Rob Wood saying, my client would like to talk to you. Right. So they reached out to Rob Wood first. He didn't pursue them. They reached out to him and they wanted to talk. And Summer even expresses how conflicted she is because she loves her sister Lori, but she doesn't like these terrible things that she's done. So she doesn't know whose side to be on. Well, I think it's pretty clear. Be on the side of the children, you know, but whatever. Summer, go ahead and be confused. But Charles deserves justice too. Yes, he does. I've always been very angry about Charles's death because it was needless. It was needless. He did everything right to point out all the red flags, to get law enforcement involved, to get some help, to keep the children safe. He did everything he could, and they just absolutely ignored him. Bottom line, law enforcement ignored Charles's calls for help over and over again. It's not like he only called him once. There were many, and they ignored him every single time. And he ends up shot, and they don't even look into it. They let Alex Cock walk by saying, oh, hey, it was self-defense. Okay, bud, bye. And that was the end of it. That made me crazy. So I really hope that they are seriously looking into Charles's death. Very seriously. So Kay should have a civil suit against the police. Leah, I would, and I hope maybe they can do that someday, And then we also have, here's something that's interests me regarding Charles's death, the Chandler Police Department, and everything going on in Arizona. Jason Mao is not on any of the witness lists. Why not? Has anybody talked to this guy? I mean, Melanie Gibb throws his name in the middle of the whole mess. We know that he's involved with preparing a people. He's involved with the Avow people. And Mark Means wants to talk about them. Who is talking to Jason Mao? And if they're not, why not? Why not? That bothers me a lot. We'll have to see what's going on with Mr. Jason Mao. But I really hope somebody is dragging him in for some questioning. I really do. One of the most interesting things I learned this week was I believe it was the documentary. All right, let's talk about the documentary. Did any of you see that? It aired on the ID channel on the 20th. It was 3 hours long. Right, and it was following Kay and Larry Woodcock as they went through this whole process. Right, from their first appearance saying the children were missing back in, I think it was December 2019 or January 2020, when they did their very first presser saying, hey, these kids are missing. Their whole journey from there to the preliminary hearing. It was a rough 3 hours. I cried through most of it. I really did. I'm not sure what the exact name of the special is. You can find it on the ID Channel app, probably their website. Go to ID Channel so you can see it. It is it's heartbreaking. Now we've been through this case and every single little piece of it for a long time. I don't know that I'm inured to the pain of it, but seeing it through Kay and Larry's eyes, oh my goodness. Oh, did I cry? I cried like a baby. Rosie, thank you for the super chat and those Christmas emojis. Look at those, are wonderful. Thank you, Rosie. I love you and thank you for your support. So, the Doomsday, Where Are the Children? Thank you, Tracy. That is what it's called. So yeah, it's a 3-hour long documentary following Kay and Larry Woodcock through this process. And I watched it twice and I cried both times, but I learned a couple of things. Now, somebody in that, one of the reporters or the narrator in the documentary states that they know for a fact that Alex was in Rexburg, right, by his cell phone data, on the day that Brandon Boudreaux was shot at. And I'm like, what? Huh. I hadn't heard that before, that they know that Alex was not the one who shot at Brandon. Have any of you guys heard that? I didn't hear that before. So I don't know if they were just talking or if that is actually a verified fact. But it made me start to think, well, if Alex and Lori were in Rexburg, okay, who shot at Brandon? Because all this time I've been thinking it was Alex. Because remember, Brandon identified Charles Vallow's Jeep Wrangler as the vehicle that he was shot at from. Right now, we know when Charles died, Lori kept that Jeep Wrangler and gave it to Tylee to drive. All right, but then we know at the date when Alex was shot at, Tylee was already deceased. So who was driving that? Well, we see Alex driving it around. Okay, but here's what I'm thinking. And this is complete speculation. Please don't repeat this as fact at all. It's not. But if Lori and Alex were both in Rexburg, somebody had that Jeep, right? What if it was Jason Mao? Because let's not forget, only a day or two after Brandon was shot at, Jason Mao posts a picture on his Facebook with a map and a circle Chandler, I think, saying, anyone need a Jeep Wrangler? Got one for sale. Why would he have done that? He seemed to think that was funny. So how would Jason Mao know that the Jeep Wrangler was involved in anything, and maybe they'd want to offload it since now it was used in an attempted murder? You know what I mean? It's like, whoa, oh goodness. If Lori and Alex were in Rexburg, maybe Jason Mao was driving the Jeep that day. And maybe he thought it was funny to put out that on his Facebook that, anyone need a Jeep Wrangler? Or he was looking for just something about the Jeep Wrangler was posted on Jason Mao's Facebook a day or two after the shooting. So right there, that's a big problem for me. That is a huge, giant problem for me. Okay. Jason Mao is a giant problem. So that part of the documentary, I was like, wait, what? Hold up. And I had to rewind and make sure that that's what they said. But they did say that Alex was for sure in Rexburg on the day that Brandon was shot. Now, that's the narrator of a documentary saying that. I do not have that confirmed from law enforcement. So, okay, let's just keep that in mind. We don't know from law enforcement for sure, but that's what they're saying. We will hear about that at trial because that is going to be a part of it. Okay, where was Alex? Where are his phone pings for all of these important dates? So, anyway, but yeah, the documentary. It was heartbreaking. It really was. Now, Kay Woodcock is an extraordinarily strong woman. She really is. And she has shown herself with strength and grace and charity that I cannot even imagine. I cannot fathom having those levels if I were in her place. Right? I would be a mess. I would be an absolute mess. But Kay is keeping it together. All right, and so is Larry. And the documentary really showed the behind the scenes of that when they're not on camera, when they're just being themselves and they're dealing with the pain of everything that's happened. And it was heart-wrenching. It was. They are amazing people. And like, I'm watching this, like, I wish they were my parents or my grandparents or my son, because I love them to bits. And I want to take their pain away. But there's nothing you can do to take their pain away. I have met Kay's daughter, Kresha. She's a member of the channel. She's in our Discord. She's usually around once in a while. Yeah, she's wonderful. Kresha is absolutely wonderful. So, yeah, they're all around social media. But watching the documentary, I did learn a few things. The main thing was I always wondered how it came to be that Brandon was the one that identified JJ. But we see that in the documentary. Brandon said he knew that he needed to be up there that day, was the day after they discovered the remains. And he went up to Rexburg. He went to Kay and Larry's hotel room and sat with them. And Larry was not feeling well. He had to stay in bed. He was having some issues. And Brandon was like, no, your body's telling you where you need to be. You need to stay here in bed. I will handle this. You don't need to see this. And man, I'm tearing up just thinking about that. That was amazing. It really was. I'm so glad Brandon was there to do that for them. But at the same time, just as I was thinking it, what I would be feeling if I were Larry on the documentary said, I feel like I let JJ down by not being able to do that, not being strong enough to do that. I was like, that's exactly what I would have felt if I were Larry. And it was like, oh my goodness. My heart just absolutely broke for them. It really did. Ooh. But like Jess just mentioned, Larry in the empty apartment. Now, you guys know I'm not one of these YouTube psychic people. I don't do the whole psychic thing. I don't do, the ghost box voices and whatever for true crime cases. I don't do that. But I am going to say this. When I watched that scene of Larry walking around the empty apartment, I got spooked out like crazy. I don't even want to say what I thought was going on during that, but watch it closely. Let me know what you think about it. It was very, that was a hard scene to watch because it was like, whoa, something's going on there. All the hairs on the back of my neck stood up. I got, goosebumps all over. It was like, woo, oh man, but then realizing that Kay is in the car sobbing her heart out. Oh, it was too much. It was so sad, but that's what we need to remember. That's what this case is all about. That's why we're here talking about it. That's why I'm digging up all these court documents and posting them all day. This is why we're doing it, for that little boy and his beautiful sister Tylee, who died apparently or allegedly at the hands of their own mother. You know, it's just, it's awful. It really is. So where can you see the documentary? If you look up the ID channel, it's Investigation Discovery Channel. It's a cable TV station. I believe it's up on their website. You can watch it through the ID channel app on your phone. Probably someone's got it on YouTube. I really wanted to do a watch party of it through Discord, but it's not really legal to do that, so I can't. But you can find it on the web somewhere. I'm sure somebody's got it on YouTube or something. But yeah, it is around. Whew. But yes, we do need to surround ourselves with a more happy 2021. Let's hope that 2021 is a little bit better. And one of the things I would really like to see in 21 is these two yahoos, meaning Lori and Chad, get at least 10 years each for the current charges. And as soon as that happens, I want to see the conspiracy to commit murder charges drop. Oh, awesome. Idaho Patriot has a link to the documentary on the Investigation Discovery channel. So there you go. Hopefully you can see that if you're in another country. But yeah, it is wonderful. You can access it on Roku. Okay, great. You can also use a VPN, a virtual private network, to access it from another country if you're tech savvy. So yeah, you can do all of that. But so what we have going right now. Oh, wait, there's one more documentary that happened last week. Oh, can't forget this one. If you look on Facebook, if you check Justin Lum's Facebook, Adam Herbert's, Nate Eaton, all of them, including Eric Grossarth, the four of them. These are the four reporters who have covered this case pretty much since the day it happened, right? Nate will tell you a story about how when he got the first news flash, when they said, oh, hey, these two kids are missing. Right, so they've been on this since day one. These are the main reporters that I follow, the ones that bring us almost all of the information about this case. They did a documentary together where the four of them sat down and talk about their journey through covering this case and the ups and downs of it, how hard it is, all kinds of other stuff. So if you want to watch that, you can watch it on Adam Herbert's Facebook. There's a link to it on Justin's and Nate's and my Facebook. So it's all over Facebook. Go check any of us out and you will find a link. It was really great to sit down and hear those guys chat and hear how they're working together. They're working together as a team, regardless of what stations or channels they're aligned to. They're like, you know what? It's all about justice for these kids. It's not about who scoops who or whatever. And it was a great conversation. So that was a really good thing. Let's see. I'm just going to check chat for a minute. Yes, Chad is up for a longer sentence because Chad has the 2 conspiracy to conceal or destroy evidence charges, but he also has 2 concealment or destruction of evidence charges. They're charging him both with a conspiracy and the actual act of doing it. So he's up for a much longer time than Lori is at the moment. Well, that's probably going to change, hopefully soon. Oh, the interview is on East Idaho News YouTube as well. Excellent. That's great. East Idaho News is Nate Eaton. And you can find almost everything that you want to find on their YouTube channel. Some things are down for now. Some of the stuff about Charles, the body cam videos and things like that, because they are currently looking at that case. So that stuff does not need to be public at the moment. But yeah, you can follow Nate Eaton there. You can follow them all on Twitter. I always have links to their stuff in the descriptions below. So let's take some questions from chat. What's going on with all you guys? What did you think of the documentary, of the video of the 4 reporter guys, those fantastic guys? What do you think of all these crazy filings this week? Kimberly McVeigh, thank you for the super chat. She says, happy holidays. Thank you for all your insights. I love your channel and excellent mods. Awesome, Kimberly. Thank you. I'm so glad you're here. And thank you for your support. That really helps so much. Excellent. All right, let's see what's going on in chat. Let me scroll up and see what everyone's talking about. Talking about Jason Mao. Yeah, I have been hesitant to do a lot of coverage of Jason Mao, because he's I don't think he's a very nice guy at all. He's very misguided. He's a little delusional. He's not somebody I want to draw his attention, but I think the authorities best be looking into him. You want to hear the 911 call from Tammy's death? Let's see, what else we got? Who else I want them to look at? Bishop Gabe. His name came up in the documentary again, and I'm like, yeah, we need to look at this guy. Because remember, in that audio that was leaked about Lori during her talk saying, I went to the bishop and I said, you're either going to give me a temple recommend or I'm going to commit murder. What's it going to be? Was that Bishop Gabe? It would seem like that would be Bishop Gabe that she said that to. So I think he has some soul searching to do. But when Brandon and Larry hugged while Larry was in bed, yep, Lib, that was a very powerful moment. Definitely. Kay, I always call them Lay and Carrie. I'm sorry. I think Kay and Larry showed great courage. They certainly did. Mao and Gabe, the result of Tammy's autopsy. Yep. There's a whole lot of stuff that we still need to know about this case. We know a lot, but there is so much more that we don't. And there are so many people that I have a lot of big questions about. Bishop Gabe, Jason Mao. When it comes to Melanie Gibb, I'm really still surprised that they haven't charged her with anything yet, and I think they should. When it comes to Summer Shiflet, I think Summer has tried very hard to make it look like she wasn't involved in this stuff at all. Oh, no, not her. But I think she was. So, I mean, if she's going to preparing a people event, then she's way more involved in this than she wants us to know. So that needs to be looked at. There's so many things. Any news on Zulema? There's no real news on her. She's apparently just holed up. I believe she's living in Arizona. She is on the witness lists. She hasn't taken off or anything, so we're just going to have to wait and see. Is Mason Cow still active law enforcement? He is not active law enforcement anymore. Last I have heard of him, he is teaching young children how to be prepared to be warriors and stuff. Ugh. Goodness gracious. Someone, Manuela says, in my opinion, do you think the authorities already have the results of Tammy's autopsy? Oh, definitely. I think they had the results back in like February or so. I do, because if you see how fast they went from the exhumation to the search warrant at the home and then to the announcement of pending further charges, I think they're just sitting on that now to wait till Rob Wood can wrap everything up. Yeah, I think they know for sure. No, I've never seen an autopsy that takes almost an entire year to do. What about Julie Rowe? Julie Rowe is in the documentary. Now, I'm watching the documentary and feeding it. Our and I are chatting back and forth live as we're watching it. And as soon as Julie Rowe popped up, we're both like, oh, no, Julie Rowe. That woman loves her minute in the spotlight. She will be on any talk show anywhere as long as she's got a camera in her face. She loves it. Her language, if you go back and watch it, her language was very distancing. Oh, well, they did these preparing a people events where they would get up and talk. She did them too. She didn't mention that part. Oh, well, I talked at some preparing a people events too. No, she didn't mention that at all. She didn't mention the depth of her relationship with Chad as far as a lot of their teachings and things like that. She didn't. She really just snowballed the whole thing. Like, oh, well, they did these crazy things, but not me. I just do my invisible spirit energy weapons and twirl rainbow batons and stuff. That's what I do. That's not me. Oh, no. But it just drives me nuts. She drives me crazy because she never tells the truth. Okay, so that's what I think about Julie Rowe. Do I think she was involved in the deaths? No. Do I think she knew about a lot of the stuff, though? Absolutely. Do I think she's lying now and trying to squirrel herself out of it? Yep. But then again, remember, she also made allegations or accusations against Chad of sexual assault on Nancy Grace's live stream. Right? So it's like, oh, Julie, which way do you want it? So I think Julie Rowe's crazy, honestly. Much like Melanie Gibb, Julie Rowe lies about her involvement in preparing people. Yes, she does. Even Michael and Nancy James lie about their own involvement with preparing people, and they're the ones who created the darn thing. So it's like, if you have this great event where all these speakers and this wonderful movement that you're starting and all this stuff, if it's so great, y'all wouldn't be having to run away from it now. But every single one of them are trying to it wasn't a thing. No, no big deal. Just a website, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah. I heard on another channel the documentary timeline was all over the place. No, I mean, they did skip around a bit. Like, I remember watching the first hour and a half and thinking, how could they be talking about this? And they totally skipped over Tammy's death. Whereas I think it was in the third hour when they focused on Chad, then Tammy's death came into all of it. So they kind of jump around a little bit, but I think it was pretty good. They certainly left a lot of information out, but it was already 3 hours long. But remember, the focus of this documentary was to follow Kay and Larry as they went through the whole process of the discovery and how it impacted them. And the point of it being, we're still searching for justice, and we need justice for the children. So I get it. It is on Google Play as well. Excellent. Miss Wee Lassie says, I feel like Rob Wood is saving any charges that might fall into Melanie G's lap when the murder charges are eventually filed. Co-conspirator. Yep, I think so too. I think they're trying to keep Melanie Gibb happy and let her think that she's in the clear and all this stuff. But there's going to come a day when blammo, she's charged just as well. Because remember, she did lie to the police. And they didn't mention that in this documentary either. When the police first called Melanie Gibb to ask if JJ was with her, she said yes. She lied to them. And then she changed her story later on. So, she was part of it. Why wasn't Colby on the documentary? I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly where Colby is right now as far as his involvement in all of this and all of that. I know that he was having a rough time dealing with it. Maybe he just wants to have some quiet and not be in the spotlight. I'm not sure, but I do wish Colby all the best for sure. You can watch it on ID Go. Excellent. Okay. All right. So the documentary is out there. Please try to watch it from a proper source, like the Investigation Discovery Channel or something like that. Because let's not promote pirating TV shows. Whatever. I just have to say that for my own legal whatevers. But yeah, Melanie Gibb did lie for 10 days. She's not an innocent little angel that everyone makes her out to be. And I have been on her butt since day one. And I'm not going to stop because I don't agree with anything she says. So imagine Colby wants to be left out of the spotlight. I think so too, Flame Lily. That's the impression I get. Although he does post from time to time. He had some recent Instagram posts where he went back to Chad's property and was putting some more things on the fence and had taken some pictures of it, like the little pop-up memorial that's there. So yeah, he's around a little bit, but I don't think he wants to be in the middle of a documentary. It's hard to make a documentary with a straight timeline because a lot of things happen, a lot of people involved. Yeah, Tiger, that is true. There was so much going on. If you look at just one portion of it where Lori and Chad are doing this and Tammy's dead, but then Alex is getting shot at, and all of this crazy stuff is happening at once. So they kind of divided it up into segments. So that made sense to me. Oh, audio. Can you not hear me? Seems to be working fine here, Monique. Maybe you need to refresh. Then again, if you can't hear me, you can't hear me saying that. All right, so we have been live for a while. I don't know what the time is because we had to restart when it bumped off. But all of the documents are up in Discord. I am constantly refreshing the court website. So as soon as anything new happens, all we know right now is that there will be a hearing on the 6th of January, which was going to be the motion to dismiss and motion for change of venue. That's changed now. It's going to be the evidentiary hearing on the motion to disqualify Rob Wood as the prosecuting attorney. That, I believe, will be sealed. But if it's not, and I can stream it live, I certainly will. So we'll keep our eyes on the 6th. However, I do expect some more stuff to be coming out before then. All right, so we'll see. Who knows if Rob Wood is going to file a response to anything at this point, or if anything that is filed is going to be under seal. So we may not get any information until the 6th, but I will keep my eye on it. But yeah, I need to get back to bed because I'm not feeling good. I will be around in Discord for a while, so if you want to pop into voice chat, come say hello. If you're having any trouble with Discord, there is a Discord video that I made that will help you. Let me get a link to that real quick. Copy link. All right, here, this video right here, I just put the link to. If you just joined us in Discord and you don't know how to make it work, go watch that video real quick. It's short, but it'll give you all the basics of how to navigate the app and how to find all the chat channels and all of that good stuff. So yeah, any new documents that pop up, I'll put them right in Discord. If it's very significant, I'll come back to you live or make a video or something. But follow me on Twitter. See the link in the banner below. You can find my Twitter, Facebook, emails, all that stuff. So if you want to keep in touch in case I'm not doing a video, you can find me at all those places. But I think I'm losing my voice now, so I'm going to go to bed. If I don't talk to y'all before, have a fantastic Christmas. Have the most wonderful Christmas you have ever had. If you celebrate something else, have a most wonderful whatever it is you celebrate. Okay, stay safe out there. Have a wonderful holiday. That's it, I guess. I hope you all just have a wonderful time. Andrew, you're still having trouble? Yeah, go watch the video on how to use Discord, because I'd really like to get you in there so I can make you a mod again. That would be wonderful. All right, so I'll keep you up to date if anything new happens. Until then, stay safe out there and have a wonderful, blessed holiday season. Bye for now.